Great to have you with us. Now, a member of the Bunkrugu and Kwanjuri District Assembly in the Northeast region has called for police investigation into the looting of medical equipment and materials from a specialized health facility built in the district capital to tackle maternal and child deaths in the area. The assemblyman for Bunkrugu South, Najar Daniel, has specifically demanded the police to interrogate a former district chief executive, Sampor Timothy Larry, who was in office in 2014 when the incident occurred. According to him, the police should also conduct a house-to-house search in the Bunkrugu township for the missing equipment.
Najar Daniel. I'm the assemblyman for Bunkrugu Central. Okay, this building was built by Japan Embassy for a maternity ward. They sponsored. After finishing it, they came and then handed over to the district assembly. And then the nurses came here and worked for only 4 days and then left back to the old hospital. They were there and then they left, they abandoned the facility, and finally what we heard that people are stealing things here, and then we came and found out they've stolen a lot of things. They've stolen beds, louvers, mattresses, fans, and other things. And then the whole place was abandoned. Why I said I'm worried is this. When a pregnant woman wants to deliver, and then if they cannot take care of her in the clinic here, we have to get a motor king, move here to Bindi Hospital, which will take us some time, and then the woman will suffer it a lot. Okay, my effort is this. We are yet talking to the district assembly. They should look forward, and then we'll see how we can assist our ladies, our women.
Correspondent Ilyasu Tanko joins me from the Northeast region on this. Give us some background to this story, Ilyasu. Ilyasu, if you can hear me, we want to get some background of the story.
Well, Bazi, this is a district about 146,000 people. The district has no hospital. There's only an understaffed and ill-equipped clinic that is serving this population. And in fact, in most parts of this district, there's no transport service, and so people who get sick are not able to come to the district capital to seek health care. And the road to that the road in this particular area is also that bad. And we heard that as a result of that, I mean, maternal mortality and childbirth was increasing in this area. And so the JICA, that is the Japanese International Cooperation Agency, decided to intervene and build this particular maternal facility for the district. As you heard the assemblyman in the area saying, immediately this particular facility was handed over to the district authorities. Health staff were sent there, and they worked for only 4 days, and subsequently the facility was shut down. Days after, authorities said they heard or they found out that all the equipment were looted. And to tell you that the extent of the loot, everything has been taken away from this particular facility, including the doors, the windows, the power cables, everything. Even the ceiling of this particular facility has all been removed by these unknown thieves. And so that is the situation here, Daniel. We understand it's because of the maternal deaths that were increasing in this area that the Japanese government, through the JICA, decided to intervene and build this particular facility.
Ilyasu, why is the assemblyman accusing the former DCE, and has he spoken, this former DCE?
Well, he is saying that it was under this former DC that this incident happened, and he also said that the Japanese embassy handed over control of this particular facility to the district assembly. And so they feel that he knows something about this particular incident that he must be investigated.
Now, you've taken a tour of the facility. What can you report?
That's like you heard me say earlier, and I mean, this is a facility that has been left abandoned 6 years since its construction. And when you get there, you only found a cement floor covered in dust and animal dropping in there. There's nothing, absolutely nothing. You see only few power cables hanging down the ceilings. You see the ceilings ripped up. Everything taken from this particular facility.
Thank you very much, Elias Utanko, for joining us with that one. We would move to other stories. And the Upper West branch of the Ghana Federation of Disabled has given a 3-week ultimatum to the interdicted Upper West Director of the Ghana Education Service, Duncan Nso, to return the wooden truck to the WA School for the Deaf, or they will embark on a massive demonstration in WA. The absence of the multi-purpose wooden truck belonging to the School for the Deaf has brought some activities of the school to a halt. The GES last week suspended its Upper West Regional Director, Duncan Nso, for alleged bribery and auctioning a wooden truck of the School for the Deaf without the prior approval of the Director General of GES and the school. JoyNews' Upper West correspondent Rafiq Salam sat through the news conference and reports from WA.
According to the Upper West Regional Branch Secretary of the Ghana Federation of Disabled, Ibrahim Sani, the wooden truck was not part of the list of unserviceable vehicles listed for auctioning by the Ghana Education Service in the Upper West region. They were therefore surprised to hear from the interdicted Upper West Regional Director of the Ghana Education Service, Duncan Nso, that the multipurpose vehicle was auctioned.
He further revealed that it was after he had borrowed the truck that he realized that the truck had been listed to be auctioned. When asked why he did not return the said vehicle to the school for due processes to be followed, he shamelessly said he did not want it to appear as if he was blocking the auctioneer from doing his work. Strangely, he could not produce any supporting documents to back his claim that the vehicle in question had been listed for auctioning and also to furnish the school file.
The Ghana Education Service, GES, last week interdicted its Upper West Regional Director, Duncan Nso, of, among other things, allegedly auctioning the said multi-purpose wooden truck belonging to the World School for the Deaf. Several weeks after taking the vehicle to his native Zuarungu in the Upper East region, authorities of the School for the Deaf pleaded with him to bring back the vehicle for the pupils to use for extracurricular activities of the school, and he failed to heed to them.
We, persons with disabilities, have come to a convincing conclusion that the truck in question is in the custody of the Regional Director, Mr. Duncan Nso. Therefore, what we, persons with disabilities in the Upper West concern is that he has stolen the truck in question. We have come to this conclusion because of the following reason. 1, he borrowed the truck and never returned it, and has no convincing documents to back that the truck has been auctioned.
Now, the Asante Mapo Divisional Command of the Ghana Police Service has opened investigations into Wednesday's bloody clashes between supporters of 2 parliamentary aspirants over filing of nomination forms. Checks at the Mapo Government Hospital revealed 5 people who reported at the facility with varied degrees of injuries ranging from neck, head and hand injuries have all been treated and discharged. Divisional Commander of Police Chief Superintendent David Kofi Amoako says the command has extended invitation to victims of Wednesday's clashes and all interested parties, including constituency executives of the New Patriotic Party. Ohiming Teria of our security desk has more.
Club-wielding supporters of incumbent MP Kwaku Sapon Amprechum engaged in the free-for-all fight with those of former presidential aspirant Francis Adenimo at the party's office on Wednesday. Police were called in after the clash to maintain law and order. The scene of the clash, the party's constituency office, had been left open with items scattered on the floor. One of the injured victims is 35-year-old Awal Ibrahim, also known as Obo, a known supporter of the incumbent MP, Sapon Amprechum. He suffered head, hand and chest injuries in the clash.
My injuries, you see, it's my head and it was very serious. My body, as I'm talking to you, one of my arms, I'm not feeling well. And my finger is very serious. I'm feeling pains in my hand. The internal ones are very serious than the one I just having it on my head. So it was very serious, yeah.
So what has police been telling you after the report, the complaints that you lodged with the police?
All right, they have said nothing yet. I just received a call from the divisional police commander and that I should report at his office within 10 minutes.
Ibrahim was seen beating a supporter of Mr. Adainimo, identified only as Kwame, after hitting him with a club. Defending his action, he told JoyNews his action was for self-protection.
We were only two and we tried to even just protect ourselves and then run away from that place, and they said.
So how did you protect yourself in the process?
All right, we were holding nothing. So you see, they were holding chains and whatever. They were just using the things on us. Yes. So I tried and snatched one of the sticks. So I used it, one of them. I hit it with him. So he just fell down. And I got the space with my brother. And we just ran down there from the story building down there. Not knowing there were even plenty down there. That down of the story building. Yes. So they continue beating us seriously. So we tried defending ourselves, and police station was just near the party office. So we just rushed and to the police station and reported to them, and they took her to the hospital.
Another victim, Amenyampom Prince, who sustained neck injuries, is unable to speak properly following Wednesday's attack. Meanwhile, Mr. Adainimo has filed his nomination forms at the regional office on Thursday.
Still live on JoyNews today. We now come back to the capital, where the minority NDC has released a statement condemning some alleged acts of brutality on protesters yesterday during the State of the Nation address. Now, let me just bring you some details of that statement. The National Democratic Congress condemns in no uncertain terms the barbaric and brutal treatment of some innocent protesters who thronged the streets near the Parliament House to picket in manifestation of their protest against the compilation of a new voter register ahead of the 2020 polls. Now, you see there in the second paragraph, it says this callous application of force resulted in physical injuries to some of the protesters, including Deputy General Secretary in charge of operations, Peter Boama Otokono. Peter Otokono has joined us on the line himself, and we'll be asking him exactly what happened yesterday. Mr. Boama Otokono, thanks for joining us. Mr. Otokono, if you can hear me, what happened to you yesterday?
Daniel, we went onto the street to have a very peaceful picketing exercise. And we stand today very appalled by the brute application of force on innocent protesters who were just out there to voice our views, to voice our true state of the nation, our true state of our livelihood, and the true state of our concern. Now, we converged in the morning, and we had wanted to picket in front of the Parliament House, not in the yard, but in front of the Parliament House. The police restricted us from going closer to the entrance of the Parliament House. Our objective was to show presence so that as the President comes in, he will see our various concerns. Perhaps that may give him an opportunity to adjust the state of the nation's address so that he can address some of the issues that was bedeviling the people or is bedeviling the people. But the police regional command, led by Superintendent Kusifo, restricted us. They kept us far away, as far as the military cemetery. We did not complain. We stood there with our peaceful protest. At certain point in time, we discussed with them that you see where we are standing may not be productive for what we want to achieve. But we have seen that this is a peaceful protest. So they should allow for us to go closer to the entrance. They refused. Several hours we stood at one location just close to the street entrance, what you may want to consider it as a barrier, the barrier between the conference center and the Parliament House. And we were there throughout. But at a certain point in time, we realized that some vehicles, MPP-branded vehicles, with loads of MPP people were driving in and moving in. So we said, but you cannot restrict peaceful demonstrators who are just carrying placards from getting close to the entrance. Yes, you allow MPP-branded vehicles to go in. That is unacceptable. They said, why have we complained? And that was when Kusifo ordered the water cannons to be used on us. Most of us were physically molested. Myself, I got some injury on my hand and so on and so forth. And we think that for the kind of budding democracy that we are, the example that we are to the subject, the last thing that we should be hearing is this kind of callous application of police power, callous application of force.
Right.
Letting the state police use in a political manner to cow people into silence, to stifle free speech. We think it's most unacceptable. Indeed, our members of parliament, our minority in parliament, also had their fair share where invisible forces who have been clothed in police and paramilitary uniforms were brought into the chamber, and they had the opportunity to decry that. This is the first time in the history.
Of course, we don't know, Mr. Otokuno, if you may, we don't know if these persons were members of invisible forces or any such vigilante group who were brought into the chamber. These are allegations, surely.
Daniel, granted that they are allegations, this is the first time we have had armed military men, armed police SWAT units, armed national security officials in the chamber of parliament. What were they doing there? Were they going for war? No. It's just the parliament chamber where the president is supposed to address only members of parliament. Now, our members felt very intimidated. Be that as it may, they voiced out their concerns and they walked out of parliament. But we cannot run a country where we use intimidation and the application of force to cow people into silence, to stifle their right to free speech. I mean,
we just want to know, Mr. Otukono, you were going to Parliament to protest. Did you inform the police ahead of time that you'll be carrying out this sort of protest there?
You do not need to inform the police when you want to embark on a picketing exercise. We were not going on demonstration. It was individuals who were just gathering to carry their placards.
But this is a security zone, Mr. Otokono. Just on that factual point, this is a security zone, and there will be a large number of VIPs present there during the reading of the State of the Nation address. Surely the police must be aware that something like this will be going on.
I am surprised to hear that the military cemetery is a security zone. And
you stated clearly that it was not your intention to stand at the military cemetery, Mr. Otokono. You stated clearly it was not your intention to go there. You were confined there by the police. You had wanted to get closer to Parliament House. You said it earlier.
No, Daniel, what I'm saying is that the road in front of Parliament, between Conference Center and Parliament, is never a security zone. All we have wanted to do, stand by the roadside in front of Conference Center and protest with our placard. Very peaceful, picketing exercise. We were not singing. We didn't have music. We didn't have brass band. We were just standing there quiet.
Right.
And I think this is not new in this country. For anybody to prevent individuals from airing their views in such a manner, that person will not, if given the opportunity, allow us even to talk on radio. And that is what we are seeing with the closure of all the radio stations around. But it should be that as it may. What we have demanded is that the IGP, as a matter of urgency, should institute a police inquiry into this matter. Those who gave the order for this mayhem to be visited on innocent protesters must be brought to book. There must be an investigation. Those who fall foul of the findings of the investigation must face some punitive measures or punitive arrangements from the police service.
Mr. Tukono, educate me if I'm wrong, but is it not part of police crowd control measures to use water cannons?
Seriously. So when there is no need, is it not part of the police work to carry guns? Does it mean that when they meet that they shoot him? No.
So by your evaluation, there was no need for them to use water cannons?
Absolutely not. It was needless and unwarranted.
What was the nature of the concern you raised in your statement?
Biased application of the force that they have.
Right. What was the nature of the concern you raised in the statement at that time, Mr. Tukono? Your statement says that you raised concern when a busload of NPP supporters were allowed to enter Parliament House without hindrance. What was the nature of this concern you raised?
What is the crime about raising concern, Daniel?
I'm not saying you've committed crime. I'm asking you what nature of the concern was.
Daniel, in actual fact, I approached the police leaders and said, how will you allow the MPP to go in there? Daniel, can you hear me?
I can hear you. You're loud and clear.
Yes. So we questioned why they will allow the MPP to go in there. I led the team and went to them and I asked them, why will you allow the MPP to enter? And you have been preventing us, keeping us in the sun for several hours when we just want to get close to the entrance.
Now, Mr. Tukono, the Chief Superintendent, Kwesi Fori, has joined us on the line, and he would like to respond to the allegations that you raised. So, Chief Superintendent Kwesi Fori, thank you very much for joining us. You have been named in this statement put out by the NDC. They say you ordered the use of water cannons containing hot chemical solution on the protesters. Your response, sir?
Thank you very much. We are all aware that yesterday Parliament sat in respect of the State of the Nation address. And prior to that, the police and other security services put stringent security measures in place to ensure that we protect Parliament, officials, and members of the House. In view of this, we deploy personnel, inner perimeter, and the peripheral areas. And what we noticed, it was a sudden notice, was a group of people numbering about 150, clad in red T-shirts and other paraphernalia, with a whole lot of placards without notifying police in respect of the Act 491, that is the public order law. So the police were ambushed at the Osu Cemetery and the military cemetery area. That attracted our attention. We met Mr. Tukono, the Deputy Secretary General of the NDC, and other young men chanting and singing and so forth, and wanted to advance towards the Parliament area. We had a lot of discussion with them, and they were there. Later, all that we witnessed was the General Secretary, Mr. Siedun Katia, and other parliamentarians. Some parliamentarians came in to address them. After the address, the demonstrators wanted to follow the officials, and we notified them that they cannot. Police have not been notified. We are not aware of their intentions and cannot allow them to get close to Parliament. And let us not forget that this is our sovereign parliament in sitting, and we cannot allow unidentified persons and people who have no respect to the law and took the law upon their own self, gathering and wanted to enter Parliament. And they were forcing and behaving violently, to enter the place.
Now, Chief Superintendent, on the point of informing you, the Public Order Act does not require that you are informed before they can carry out a demonstration. You have to be informed, but it doesn't mean you have to stop them.
That the police should be notified and that should be respected.
It doesn't mean that they can't have
the Public Order Act 491 should be respected. We are in a democratic dispensation, and they know better.
In 2016, the Let My Votes Count Alliance Chief Superintendent took the police to court, and the court ruled on this, that they cannot be stopped from going on a demonstration if they have not informed the police.
They did not notify the police of their intention. They ambushed the police. They ambushed the police because under such a special State of the Nation address, such an activity will not be entertained in and around Parliament, where we have our parliamentarian sitting. So all that is happened that we gave them several advice to quit, but they were still forcing their way into the main precinct of the State House. And by our mandate, we have every authority to that effect to ensure that we ward them off. And we use a soft hand approach, using a water hosing equipment, to disperse them.
Were there any other chemicals in the cannon beyond water?
All that I know is we use water.
Right. And Peter Boamotukono on the other line says that he simply asked you questions and it did not in any way warrant using water cannons on him and his colleagues.
By the ingredients that necessitate police for that action were right. One, behaving violently.
Right. Hello, Chief Superintendent.
Respecting police order and ground rules in and around Parliament, and also trying to attack some of our...
They tried to attack some of the officials, is what you say?
Yeah, they did.
Right. Well, you were armed police officers. I'm just wondering, how would someone who was simply holding a placard try and attack an armed police officer?
I'm telling you that we are citizen police officers. The conditions were ripe, and we did that as far as democratic policing on public order management is concerned, and we are right. And the steps taken are approved internationally, and it's a worldwide practice.
Thank you very much, Chief Superintendent Kwesi Fori, for joining us. Peter Boamotukono is still with us on the other line. I'll take a final word from him before I move on. Mr. Otukono, you've just heard the Chief Superintendent. He says that all the ingredients that warranted the use of a soft approach, which is using water cannons, were found there. He says that some of your officers tried to attack, some of your colleagues tried to attack his officers.
Daniel, I know the police can do a lot of things. One thing that I have never ascribed, or nobody will ascribe to the police service, is telling lies and peddling total deception to the people. I am completely amazed this afternoon with the commentary of Mr. Kwesi Fori. There was no period in time when any police officer was attacked. Not a single one. Now, there was also no period in time yesterday when we decided to follow anybody into the precincts of Parliament. In actual fact, when they were pouring the water on us, some of the parliamentarians were with us. You understand? It had nothing to do with following general secretaries to the parliament. What are we going to do there? The arrangement for our protest was in front of parliament. Now, we could have moved individually in the morning into the presence of parliament, but that was not our arrangement. Our arrangement was to stand by the roadside, where obviously it's not a security zone, carrying our placard. We were not chanting like President is saying. We never sang a single song until General came and we said, Chobe, 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 before he spoke.
Okay. Hello, Mr. Otokono. Unfortunately, we seem to have lost Peter Boamo Otokono there. He's Deputy General Secretary of the NDC in charge of operations. You just heard him describe his version of what happened there. Now, Majority Leader Osei Mensah Bonsu says minority MPs have the right to debate the President's State of the Nation address despite the decision to walk out. The debate on the address is expected to begin on Tuesday and will run till Friday. Some majority MPs had hinted they will block the minority from participating, but responding to questions on the floor, the majority leader said nothing bars the minority from participating in the debate. Joseph Opoku-Gakpo joins me with details. Joe, what exactly has been happening on the floor of Parliament the day after the State of the Nation?
So the majority leader and leader of government business, Osei Mensah Bonsu, has been outlining what the House will be doing next week. And top on the agenda is that MPs will be debating the State of the Nation address that was delivered by the President yesterday. And that debate is expected to begin on Tuesday and run up until Friday. Now, after he announced that, the majority deputy whip, the second majority deputy whip, that's Moses Enim, asked the majority leader whether the minority MPs would have the opportunity to join in that debate, looking at the fact that they didn't participate in the President's presentation yesterday. And the majority leader indicated that, as far as he is concerned, technically, nothing but anyone who wasn't present when an issue was being raised from debating it, except that he made the point that it's an issue of morality that the minority MPs would have to deal with.
Thank you very much, Joseph Opoku-Gakpo, for bringing us that update from Parliament. Coming up in business, Bank of Ghana rolls out new transactions platform to help ensure transparency in foreign exchange trading. Stay with us for these.